Agbonlahore's second goal in a week secured a vital Villa win at Blackburn. It leaves Martin O'Neill's team in sight of the safety mark. Well, Wigan have suffered setbacks in their survival bid. Bolton Wanderers, the latest team to inflict the damage. All Jules' men need points quickly, but they certainly haven't come easy on the road. Just one away win at Eastlands in the whole of 2007. Well, welcome to Villa Park from Daniel Mann and Trevor Francis. This is a clash between two sides who are still facing a little bit of a nerve-jangling end to the Barclays English Premier League season. After scaling the dizzy heights of the top three back in the autumn, reality has sunk its teeth in hard at Aston Villa. In fairness to Martin O'Neill, though, the manager has never been slow to dampen the optimistic fervour that surrounded their superb start to the season. Now it's all about securing enough points to guarantee their ever-present status in the Premier League, and victory at Blackburn on Saturday was certainly a big step in that direction. Maybe one more win needed to carry them over that line. Wigan in real danger. There's Doug Ellis there, who's left the big day-to-day involvement at Aston Villa. And new money in the club, they're hoping for some work in pre-season to improve their lot. They're hoping to better 16th place, which is where they finished in the final campaign under David O'Leary. And Wigan in real danger of slipping out of the Premiership. Boss Paul Jewell believes staying up second time of asking will be an even bigger achievement than last year's flirtation with Europe and an appearance in a major cup final. Defeat at Charlton last week added to the angst, and that home loss at the hands of Bolton leaves Paul Jewell's team just 2 points above the drop zone, with crucial games against Sheffield United and West Ham still to come. Villa Park not filling up particularly rapidly. Plenty of empty spaces at the moment. But the victory at Blackburn certainly has bolstered, one would imagine, confidence around here. They battled back well to achieve a point against Everton in the second half here last Monday. And things suddenly, when the nerves were beginning to jangle, look a bit more rosy for Aston Villa. It's the programme traditionally the time when the picture becomes a little clearer, but the relegation situation, you have to say, rather murky. Only 6 teams in the Barclays English Premier League are actually mathematically safe at the moment. Realistically, there are 3 or 4 teams who are one result away from security, and probably 5 sides right in the thick of it. Wigan are certainly one of those. And there's a strong case for saying that the 3 points would be much more vital for Wigan's cause than for Aston Villa's this afternoon. Two cat calls. The Boo Boys were out in force at half-time against Everton here on Monday night. But the second half performance and the second half show of support will now prove to be a turning point for Aston Villa. Wigan, meanwhile, kept that bad habit going of throwing away a lead on Saturday against Bolton Wanderers. 22 points they've now lost from winning positions in the Premiership this season. Struggling to hit the back of the net on a regular basis. Agbonlahore, the last 7 days have been massive for him. A new contract, 2 crucial goals. An equaliser against Everton, followed by a coolly taken winner against Blackburn. See Villa close to clinching survival. And let's take a look at the team news then. And even though Ashley Young is available for Aston Villa, Martin O'Neill has opted not to change a winning Villa formula. He names the same 11 that went to Blackburn and picked up a precious 3 points. Gabby Agbonlahore will lead the line with Sean Maloney in support, while Patrick Berger makes only his second start of the season. Wigan make 3 changes to a side that threw away another lead against Bolton on Saturday. David Unsworth returns to one of his former clubs, although he never played for Aston Villa in a 4-week spell here. Kevin Kilbane and Denny Lanza also come in. Lee McCulloch looks set to start up front with Heskey, but he could also drop deeper to make a 5-man midfield. And there is Lee McCulloch. Martin O'Neill, his side, after flirting with the top 3 back in the autumn, flirted dangerously near to the relegation zone. And Patrick Berger enjoying an excellent Easter period, came on to good effect against Everton last week and scored one and made another against Blackburn on Saturday. While Kevin Kilbane returns in the Wigan side, and Emile Heskey, who bagged his 100th league goal against Bolton on Saturday, will lead the line for Paul Jewell's team, who are desperate for the points this afternoon. His team to defend collectively a little better than they did against Bolton on Saturday, while Martin O'Neill will doubtless settle for more of the same after they went to Blackburn and picked up a precious 3 points. One more win and you'd say they're definitely home and dry. They've played every season in the Premier League, they'll want that to continue. 2 captains, Gareth Barry there and Matt Jackson, a boyhood Villa fan. Referee Mark Halsey, who, like Wigan, has made the trip down from Lancashire today. Level rising in anticipation. Plenty of empty spaces in the crowd as Mark Halsey prepares to get us underway here. So the 2000th league game at Villa Park, and it's huge for the home side. 1 win away from probable survival, but even bigger for Wigan, who still have a lot of work to do. Just 2 points above the drop zone. Certainly tense times for Wigan, Trevor Francis.
Yes, obviously Wigan could do with getting a result here this afternoon at Villa Park. Not an easy place to come to after Villa's success on Saturday. As you mentioned, for Aston Villa, 1 more win and all the nerves would suddenly disappear. They're looking to build on that great success at Blackburn on Saturday.
The turnaround in fortune started to a degree with their second half showing against Everton after a pretty poor first half performance when they fell behind. Patrick Berger, one of the men who inspired the rally, finds Barry. Stilian Petrov. Now Melberg. Misplaced pass early on from Larson.
You just mentioned, Daniel, misplaced pass, and at this stage of the season you would normally expect pitches to be very rough, relatively bumpy, but players have got no excuse this afternoon because this surface is in absolutely immaculate condition.
The slip here has allowed Agbonlahor to seize onto it. Berger couldn't quite get his shot away. Looking to mount the momentum, but again another slip there by Fitzhall. Put Wigan in danger. It's been some week for Gabby Agbonlahor. 2 goals in the last 7 days. He signed a new contract and already looking bright and lively, I think, in what is his preferred role, playing as a striker. He has been used very often in a wide role this season.
Yes, he's got outstanding pace, and I tend to agree with you that his best position is in a more central striking position, but it's done him no harm. I'm sure he's learnt the game and learned a lot more about what's expected of a front player playing in wide areas. That pace is always there, of course, for him to exploit in wide areas, but at times he just lacks a little bit of guile. But certainly up front, Matt Jackson and David Unsworth, they won't relish too many one-on-ones against Agbon Lahore, because there aren't many quicker players in the Premiership than this youngster.
Just see it out there, Aston Villa. There are one or two in the Wigan side who might endure a less than friendly reception this afternoon. One of them leading the line, who of course knows Martin O'Neill very well indeed from their time together at Leicester City. David Unsworth as well. There were one or two muted boos when he first touched the ball. He never touched the ball in an Aston Villa shirt. He was here for what, 26 days, was it? Settle in the area. Long time ago now, mind. Here's Berger. And Agbon Lahore away from Hall again. It's not the first time that's happened. Just behind Gardner in the end, and Wigan escape. Here's Heskey. Warm Villa Park welcome for the ex-Birmingham man. Now Kilvan. Aston is there. And looking to help it away as well. Now Maloney. Stay away from Lanzat. Berger. Now Agbon Lahore. The trap was sprung there. Gareth Barry wants it. Agbon Lahore will plough his furrow and win a corner.
Well, it's very evident in the early part of this game, the link-up play between Berger and Agbon Lahore. Two players who've got good appreciation of one's skills. Berger, an excellent pass to the ball, needs movement, and he's certainly getting that from Agbon Lahore.
Oh, Melberger's getting up there. And it's the second corner in succession. Heskey adjudged to have diverted it behind. Delivery was met by Sharner. It's Bartley's through ball, which didn't find a Villa boot.
This is Agbon Lahore now in possession. Fitzall goes to ground far too easily. One-on-one Agbon Lahore. Perfect position for him to attack Matt Jackson. Drives to the byline. Puts the ball into the box, looking for a colleague. But the early warning signs are there for Wigan. You don't allow this guy to be in one-on-one situations too often, because he's going to make you pay.
It's Unsworth. It's interesting that you mentioned that the centre-back partnership for Wigan today, both of them actually played in the old First Division. And there's a lot of experience on their side as well. Matt Jackson played there with Luton and then moved to Everton. Unsworth with Everton as well, of course.
When I was the manager at Birmingham City, I had Matt Jackson for 2 months on loan. Did very well for me. I think I've gone on record as saying that probably should have signed him, although Matt was reluctant to play in the right-back position where I wanted him to play. He much preferred to play at the centre of defence.
Oh, here's Kilvan. Got a bit of a run on Bartley there. Now, it may well have bounced up and struck Melberg on the arm there. Mark Halsey waving it away. And Barry and Agbon Lahore. Sticking with him this time. Barry. It's done nicely until the delivery. Baumer being urged to shoot. He certainly did. Caught it well enough.
Well, he certainly gets a good round of applause, the Dutch full-back, for listening to the crowd and striking this ball. John Phelan watches it very closely, raises his hands, thinks about just making sure by tipping it over the crossbar at the last second, realises there's no need, takes his hands away. As a result, it's a goal kick.
Bright start from the home team, though, as you might expect. Their confidence buoyed by events at the weekend. Martin Larsson, who returned to the side at Blackburn after recovering from hamstring problem. Here's Maloney. Now Berger. Oh, and Agbonlahor could be in again. It's Unsworth who gets across, and he timed it right and got the ball.
Well, if Wigan are not to concede early on, with two players, they've got to start closing down much quicker. I've already spoken about Berger. Once again, he threads the ball through to Agbonlahor. It was a timely challenge from the experienced David Unsworth to thwart Agbonlahor. He had to get it right. He was in the penalty box, but it was a good challenge.
By Mellberg. Poor George Wigan met Aston Villa 3 times now and haven't lost a single one of them. Did the double last season. 0-0 draw in November. Oh, and that's taken out of Gardner's path there. Looked as though he was going to deal with that reasonably comfortably. Here's Baines. Heskey up there. Nelson and Bardsley get it away. Baines a little aggrieved here.
Well, I'm not sure exactly whose throw-in it was, but what I do feel, there was a little push by Gareth Barry into the back of Leighton Baines.
Now here's Berger. Can he get away? And Phelan to the rescue for Wigan.
Well, that's an excellent save from John Phelan. Berger exchanging rows now. He's gone into an advanced position, takes possession on his thigh, hits with his left foot, takes a deflection from David Unsworth. Takes a bit of the pace off it, but still, it's a quite brilliant save this from John Phelan. You can see it quite clearly. It's deflected, going away from Phelan at full stretch, just manages to get a hand to it.
And Patrick Berger suffering a little bit of pain for his troubles, and with all the injury worries he has had in his career, that is not a pretty sight for Aston Villa supporters. Second start in the last 18 months for Aston Villa.
Well, the physio just checking Patrick Berger's knee just to see if there's any ligament damage. It's a good break, this. Gets go side of Fitzall, realised the challenge was coming in from Unsworth, got his shot away nice and early. A deflection, very nearly took it past John Phelan. Well, the physio was giving the thumbs up. That's a good sign. It's a good sign for all Villa supporters, not so much for Wigan, because Patrick Berger has made an excellent start to this game.
He's not going to let him back on straight away. Phelan comfortable. Unsworth was also off the field as that corner was taken. He scored one and made another against Blackburn on Saturday, and showed all the old form. He starred way back in Euro '96, and actually against Leicester. Leighton Baines again unhappy. Jackson away by Mellberg. There's Valencia, his first real involvement. There's one well by Larson. Committing himself but lost out. Kilban will find Baines. No trouble for Sorensen. One former Sunderland man finds another. Now the break could be on. Expense of a corner. Unsworth deals with it.
Once again, Berger in possession. Looks up. Who's he looking for? Agbon Lahore. Immediately with his movement, he put Unsworth under pressure. He wasn't exactly sure Unsworth where Agbon Lahore was. He was forced to head it. Gave a corner to Aston Villa.
Melberg, Larson, Gardner, Agbon Lahore and Barry all in the box. Almost reached Melberg, away by Hall. Pressure maintained. Rallying cry from the Wigan support. And they've had some defending to do in these opening 13 minutes. Here's Maloney. Gardner making a run. Another corner.
That's too easy, the way that Maloney was allowed to receive possession from Bowmer, the throw-in. Poor marking. One or two complaints there from Matt Jackson, the skipper, and rightly so. You can't get in that easily and receive possession in such a high position as what Maloney did.
It's run in there by Shana. Maloney. Barry wants it. But Shana read it as well. Now Bowmer to Barry. Pretty dominant start from Villa. Here's Barry once more. Valencia and Hall between them, halting his run. Now Barclay. Switch of play to try and maintain the momentum. Here's Petrov. Now Berger again. Barry. And Maloney looking to time his run right. He didn't quite. Flag went straight up.
Well, Maloney was offside, but there wasn't much in it. Wigan just got their line right, and this man here, more importantly, he got his flag right. He raised it above his head, thankfully for Wigan. Otherwise Maloney would have been in a good situation.
And the Hawkeyes of David Richardson, the assistant on this near side. Aston winning that well. Keeping his place with Gary Cahill absent. Now Agbon Lahore, he's got the run on Jackson. Can he come up with the finish? Well, again, Phelan makes a crucial save for Wigan Athletic.
I just wondered if Agbon Lahore could actually have gone around John Phelan. He'd come a long way off his line. Excellent save by the Wigan keeper. But talk about pace. He's given Matt Jackson 6 or 7 yards there, gone past him as if he was treading water. One-on-one, probably could have gone around him, but didn't fancy on his left foot. And once again, the warning is there. Agbon Lahore really is a threat this afternoon with his pace.
He did turn on the afterburners there. Here's Heskey. Oh, and that was missed completely by Melberg. Oh, and again, a little bit jittery. Aston Villa starting brightly enough, but can they make that tell? Heskey again, blocking it. We'll talk about Villa's bright start. One or two worrying moments at the back for them.
Yes, they've been causing themselves their own problems with careless passing. And the problem they have is that they've been accustomed to just knocking balls into the front for big John Carew. Of course, they don't have that aerial presence today, and they have to be so much more precise with their passing, trying to thread it in mainly on the floor to the smaller target players. It's certainly Maloney and Agbonlahor.
Aston getting the other side of Larson there. Flag up. As far as the Villa support are concerned, he can do no right this afternoon, Emil Heskey.
Well, it was the initial challenge, wasn't it, on Martin Larsson that the assistant referee didn't like, brought it to the attention of Mark Halsey, who agreed, gave the free kick, much to the disappointment of Emil Heskey, but much to the pleasure of the Holt end.
Brian on that side. Being rather insistent that the free kick is taken from the right place. Heskey beating Baumer to it. Now Kilban. Leighton Baines. Heskey the target as ever. Now go both of them. Heskey and Larsson. Barry once more looking for Agbonlahor. It's McCulloch who's gone down there. Well, he is by trade a striker, although he's been employed more often than not in the last couple of years on the left side of midfield by Wigan, Lee McCulloch. Still comes up with the odd vital goal. It's won by Larsson, now Baines. Wigan force a corner. Well, approaching the 20-minute mark, and the potential for Wigan to sustain the pressure for the first time, really.
Yeah, you feel they've got a chance on set pieces from wide areas, because aerially they've got a much bigger team than Aston Villa. Apart from Larsson and Melberg, there aren't too many six-footers in the Villa side. They're quite a small side compared to Wigan.
It's gone all the way through, and Heskey, did he get the final touch? It was headed down, and Heskey followed it in. Lee McCulloch getting half the credit. But whatever, Sorensen is beaten.
That's exactly what I was talking about, the aerial strength of Wigan. Ball played to the far post. Gareth Barry loses McCulloch, who heads it back across goal. Well, I'm not sure that whether Heskey does get a touch, but what is certain, that ball is in the back of the net. Sorensen's not happy. He seems to have been blocked off by Matt Jackson. But certainly Heskey does get a touch, doesn't he? Right in front of the Holt end. He's been jeered the early part of this game, but that's the reply from Emil Heskey. He puts Wigan in the lead.
Well, exactly what Paul Jewell would have wanted. And Emil Heskey, after going 5 games without a goal, now 2 in 2. Taking it off Lee McCulloch right at the last there, but I think his touch was needed with a Villa defender in close attendance. His 101st league goal after hitting the century mark against Bolton on Saturday. And what a step in the right direction that could be as Wigan mount their bid to survive.
It's a huge blow for Aston Villa because they've started so confidently. It'll be interesting now just to see how they approach the second half of this opening 45 minutes. And just interesting also to see how the crowd respond, because they've been very enthusiastic. They've liked what they've seen so far, but they've not liked Heskey putting Wigan in the lead.
Well, Thomas Sorensen certainly wasn't happy. Whether he was impeded or not. But he is beaten. Wigan's first real sustained spell of attacking play, really. They forced the corner. And that was the result. And here's Malberg. Well, will Villa be stung by that and respond in the right manner, or will the heads drop? That's the question now. Of consolation for Villa is the situation Wigan have found themselves in all too often, where they've taken the lead and the game has gone away from them. 22 points they've lost in these situations. But will Martin O'Neill feel aggrieved that the goal was awarded in the first place?
Gareth Barry will be disappointed with his contribution, because he got drawn to the ball. He was detailed to Mark McCulloch at the back post, got drawn to the ball, went over his head. McCulloch with a free header. But whilst I was watching McCulloch head the ball and looking at Heskey, there appeared to be a little bit of contact from Matt Jackson blocking off Thomas Sorensen. I know he was bitterly disappointed that the referee didn't give a free kick in favour of him.
Well, John Filan has had to make a couple of important saves, and their value has certainly increased with Wigan taking this lead here. Could easily have been behind. Here's Lanza. Fitzhall ready to deliver. McCulloch in there once again. And this time Aston Villa will get a decision in their favour, which they felt they should have had when Wigan took the lead. But it's gone now. 20 minutes remaining in the first half.
That's where Wigan are dominating at the moment. Anything kicked long from Sorensen comes straight back. It's a big back four that Wigan have, apart from Leighton Baines in the left back position. Hall, Jackson and Unsworth, they're all 6 foot plus.
Well, Lee McCulloch going in there. Martin Larsson. Here's Kilban. Well, now I'm up there from Agbonlahor. Worry for David Unsworth here. Heskey will look to claim this.
Keep your eye on Matt Jackson, because he stood directly by Sorensen. Sorensen gets in front of him. Sorensen goes to ground far too easily, but Mark Halsey, he wasn't interested.
Baines. It's away by Melberg in the end. Well, after a worrying start to the game maybe for Wigan, they do have a reward. Can they hold on to it? Lanzat helping it on. Now Baumer. Heskey on to Kilban, promising attack here. Well, he was clipped by Petrov. And the yellow card comes out for the first time for Stilian Petrov.
Good run this from Kilban. One or two Wigan players were asking for a red card, but Petrov, no way was he the last man. I'm not even sure it was intentional. It may have been contact.
A dangerous position, though, to say the least. It's the sort of situation that would suit Ryan Taylor, actually, but he's not on the field today. We've seen Leighton Baines with his left foot produce the odd special in his time. Who's it to be then? Mark Halsey not happy yet. Will be Lanzat. Oh, whistles wide.
Well, the best you can say about the effort from Lanzat is that he actually got it up over the wall. But Sorensen was never troubled. It was well wide of his post.
And on the basis of the early part of the game, Villa must be wondering how they have found themselves behind. But since they've gone behind, they've shown little sign of rectifying that situation. Give it away again. Well, Petrov got the ball there. Now Agbonlahor. He picked up by Maloney. Easily picked off. Heskey making a run. And he'll be penalised again.
Well, Heskey will argue that was a fair shoulder charge. But Mark Halsey just getting a little bit irritated with Heskey. One or two too many free kicks given away by the big striker. He's probably saying to him, next time, you have to go in the book.
Martin Larsson, the victim in inverted commas. Agbonlahor after early joy. Hasn't really been able to get involved too much since Paul Jewell's team took the lead. Martin O'Neill wondering now how his team are going to wrestle their way back into it.
Probably the same way as they did at Blackburn, and probably the same way they did last Monday against Everton. So on both occasions they came from behind.
It certainly helps, doesn't it? From a confidence point of view, they've been there. But it's fair to say, particularly in the Everton game, they certainly didn't start as brightly as they did today. Here's Gardner. Now Bardsley. Barry going to ground. Also gesturing to him to get up. Now then, there's that two-footed from Valencia.
Well, the assistant referee's looking directly in at that. He's given nothing, but Mark Halsey has given the correct decision. Two-footed jump as Bowman was about to make the challenge. And if you make that kind of challenge, you risk the consequences.
We'll look two-footed from here, and Wigan may be in front, but they're now a man down.
I'm afraid Valencia can have absolutely no complaints. He's jumped dangerously in, 2 feet, both feet were off the floor. It was reckless, absolutely ridiculous challenge. I'm afraid he's let that man down, poor Joe, with that kind of challenge, because now they're going to have to play for an hour with 10 men.
Well, if ever a picture spoke 1,000 words, it was that one. And Wilfred Baumer still in some pain. Well, holding on to leads has been Wigan's Achilles heel this season. They've now got to do it with reduced numbers, and definitely a big lift for Aston Villa. Here's Gareth Barry now. It's 10 against 10 at the moment because Baumer is still off the field. Back to the full complement for Aston Villa now. Melberg. Bonlahor was calling on Mark Halsey to give him a decision there. Wasn't going to come.
Certainly gives food for thought now to Martin O'Neill. He needs to get back into the game. He's got the one-man advantage. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Will he leave it till half-time, have a little think about it, and then make a change during the interval? Or will he decide to do something immediately?
Well, here's Heskey, the man who's got the goal. Touched it, really. It's Kilban. Oh, Heskey again to Baines. Kilban. Melberg defending the situation well enough. Looks like it's going to come straight back, though. And here's Larson. Baumer, who looks to be moving reasonably okay. A slight limp after that challenge from Valencia. Bardsley's delivery, it was Barry coming in.
Well attacked from Gareth Barry, made the run from the middle of the park. Wins it, but under pressure from Jackson, can't direct his header on target.
Well, already Aston Villa looking to make changes, and Ashley Young, he was available from the start, but Martin O'Neill opting not to use him. Now is the time. That's a foul by Berger on McCulloch.
It doesn't surprise me that Martin is making the change early. He's got to get back into the game. Just wondering who he's going to sacrifice. Possibly young Craig Gardner in a wide area. We'll see.
Well, they're going to make the decision before the free kick is taken. Martin O'Neill complaining about time wasting from Wigan. It is Hall who'll deliver. Shana getting up. It looks like it might be Wilfred Baumer who's actually going to come off. Indeed it is. The board goes up on the far side. Wilfred Baumer, who still isn't moving as freely as he would like after that horrendous challenge by Valencia that got him sent off. He departs. Ashley Young returns. Went off injured just before half-time against Everton. Comes on just before half-time against Wigan.
Yeah, that means one of two changes, a little bit of a reshuffle. Gareth Barry's gone to the left-back area. Craig Gardner comes inside one into a more familiar central midfield role alongside Petrov. And Luke Young, he's on the right of midfield. Did I say Luke Young?
I think you did actually, yeah. Actually. Here's Petrov. Now Gareth Barry. Now Bardsley. Immediately Gardner calling for it. Here's Petrov. Now Barry. Oh, and Gardner has got there, but was that handball that he's given Halsey? I think so.
Well, it was so blatant that Gardner almost caught that ball, and Mark Halsey was close at hand, spots it. On another day, you know, he could possibly have actually brandished a yellow card, because it was quite deliberate from Gardner, trying to seek an advantage here. Moves the ball with his hand in between the two Wigan players, Hall and Jackson.
Pretty clear cut, wasn't it? There's one by Kilban, who does rise well. Here's Barry. Well, 5 minutes to go to the break. Can Villa find their response before the interval? Agbon Lahore. Petrov, now Gardner. Bardsley getting involved. Now Young. Young's first contribution is to win a corner. Aston who got up.
I think Mark Halsey's just acknowledging that if that had gone in, I think he'd have given a free kick against Larsson. He was climbing all over the Wigan player, using his hands there. And that player was McCulloch.
And McCulloch, who got up to good effect for Wigan earlier on. Larsson, had it gone in, would have been denied what could have been his first goal in over 2 years, but then he has had a huge number of injury problems. Oh, straight to Kilban by Bardsley, and Melberg, fairly blatant really, and the yellow card will come for Olof Melberg.
Easy decision, wasn't it, for Mark Halsey? Blatant body check from Melberg. He obviously thought he was the last man there in that situation, but Kilban was going nowhere.
Well, we've seen the threat Wigan pose from a set piece already. Lanzat's delivery. Sorensen claims this time. And Shana in close attendance. Maloney's going to face a real job to get the better of Fitzhall in the air. Well, Berger will get a free kick there, and McCulloch the aggressor. Barry. Well, Maloney got up. In the air, maybe not his forte. Well, just when things are going so well, a red card comes for a reckless challenge for Valencia, and they were able to respond and up their game a touch. Here's Barry. We're approaching the final minute of the 45. Now Berger. And can they open them up? Well, important foot in from Unsworth. There have been a few of those already. Cheer of the afternoon for Heskey's slice, and Baines will be penalised there. His delivery. Wigan wanting a goal kick. Gardner would ghost it in there. Well, more defending to do just before the interval. 3 minutes of added time. Filan getting plenty of meat on that. Back in by Bardsley. Maloney. Now Barry. Maloney once more. Plenty of step-overs. Neither an effective shot or a cross.
They've got to try and force more players in the penalty box, Aston Villa. To be fair to Maloney, as he looks up here, there's only 2 players in there. Like Bonlahar and Young, just look how many black shirts there are. 8 black shirts and 2 claret and blue shirts.
No hurry for John Filan. Larson winning that one. Gareth Barry. Here's Berger. Here's Sean Maloney. Martin O'Neill keen to get things moving quickly. Found the most effective ball boy out there. It's Gardner. That was handball once more. He was beginning to make a habit of this.
Well, I don't think the Wigan players are complaining about the handball. I think it's the follow-through challenge from Gardner on Fitzall they're complaining about.
Certainly leading the outcry there. Once again, John Filan taking his time, not hurrying things. take the goal kick here because of a moving ball? Is that what's going to happen? Here's Petrov. Not much time left in the half. Villarata go in at the break on terms. Here's Berger. Whistles from the Wigan support. You'd think it was the 90th minute, not the 45th. But the half-time whistle does blow. And Aston Villa, much the dominant side in the early stages, but they go in at half-time trailing thanks to Emil Heskey. He tapped home from close range after a Lee McCulloch knockdown. Thomas Sorensen felt he was fouled in the melee that led to it. Mark Halsey saw nothing wrong. Antonio Valencia later sent off for a horrendous two-footed challenge. It's Martin O'Neill who goes in at the break with plenty to ponder. It's Wigan who go in at the break with a half-time lead. It's Aston Villa 0, Wigan Athletic 1. Well, welcome back to Villa Park. 10-man Wigan re-emerging. Can they hold on to this lead, which would really improve their prospects of staying in the promised land? Emil Heskey, who's had a rough reception from the Aston Villa fans with his connections with the other team in the city, with that all-important goal. Ryan Taylor poised to come on for Wigan at the start of the second half. So it looks like a little bit of a reorganisation. And it looks as though maybe David Unsworth hasn't re-emerged for the second half. So I'd imagine that Fitzhall will just slot into the centre-back position, and Ryan Taylor will replace him at right-back. That would be the most obvious reading of that change from Paul Jewell. What a task awaits Wigan here, down to 10 men, defending a one-goal lead, which, let's face it, hasn't been their strong point this season. Against a Villa side determined to get that one victory that will probably push them over the safety line. Wigan making one change at the back at the start of this second half, with Ryan Taylor replacing David Unsworth. Taylor involved immediately. Stilian Petrov. They have to try and find a way through. Here's Agbon Lahore. Can't quite keep it alive. Made the attacking change just before half-time, Martin O'Neill, with Ashley Young replacing Wilfried Baumer. Here's Patrick Berger. Petrov. Goes from Petrov, and Young will get there! And Phelan makes another important save.
Should have scored. Brilliant ball, acknowledged by Young. Petrov just clipped it in. Young got on the inside of Baines, one-on-one, really should have scored. Good save though from Phelan yet again.
Berger being urged to have a crack. Petrov might here. There's Berger again. First touch wasn't what he would have wanted. Bardsley. Stretch boot of Shana enough. Shana going to ground here. Pretty innocuous. Offside against Ashley Young.
I think Mark Holt has got a bit of grip of this. At the latter part of the first half, John Phelan was guilty of time wasting. Already on 2 occasions in the second half, he's taken more than his allotted time.
Phelan's clearance there, finding the top corner of the Villa dugout. Pressure. maybe begin to mount here. It's Maloney. Ardsley was again screaming for it on the far side, the right. Here's Maloney, now Berger. Can they pick their way through? It's Young. Well, an opportunity wasted, really.
Once again, the pass was better than the final effort. Wonderful little pick out this is from Berger. Finds Ashley Young in the box. I think he was caught in two minds whether to shoot or cross. Not a good effort from Ashley Young. But what is significant is that within seconds of the start of the second half, Ashley Young has got straight into the game. He's already had two good opportunities.
In the first 5 minutes of the second half, not entirely dissimilar to the first 5 minutes of the first. Here's Melberg, and now Bardsley. Barry. Well, Berger's in behind here, the flag has stayed down, and the ball was bundled in, was it? Yes, Agbonlahor got a touch, I think. Well, it's really going for this man at the moment, and it looks like he did just enough.
Well, the goal was coming, wasn't it? Third opportunity now, already at the start. But was he offside? As the ball is played to Berger, certainly it appears that Agbonlahor gets a touch. What is absolutely sure was that the ball did cross the line. Good ball from Gareth Barry. Berger appears to be in an offside position. Comes off Agbonlahor. Baines, desperate effort, but he can't keep it from crossing the goal line. It's definitely in.
Well, a hint of offside about it as Berger broke clear, but Martin O'Neill will not be worrying about that, nor will he be worrying about the rather scruffy manner in which it went in off Gabby Agbonlahor. It's a goal, and that's all that matters for Aston Villa. Oh, Heskey at the other end looking to cause a bit of menace. Melberg again doing just enough, and Emil Heskey coming away from that situation, moving a little gingerly actually.
While we're looking closely at the goal, Wigan actually made a change. Fitzhall has come off and Skokel's come on to middle the park, forcing Shauna now into a defensive position.
Well, Barclays got acres of space here. Well, I don't think he needs anybody to tell him.
Well, once again, there's another hint of offside, but certainly Villa doing as they should do with the extra man, using the full width of the pitch. Bardsley hugging that touchline, getting forward into very high positions. The cross, unfortunately, let him down at the vital moment.
Well, once again, Wigan have lost the lead, and they've not scored 2 goals in a Premiership match since January, down at Reading, with 10 men as well. Well, suddenly it has turned, and suddenly Villa voices are strong, although Olaf Melberg in some pain here. Kilban, the man he collided with there. The 2000th league game at Villa Park. This great old venue has been transformed. It looks as though a Wigan player may well have been shown a yellow card while we were taking a look at the panoramic views around the Midlands. It may have been Baines who went in the book. just ahead of Lahore. But everything's going right for him at the moment, and I suppose the goal just emphasises that. Here's Berger. Lahore pointing where he wanted it, but Berger couldn't possibly have found him in that particular tight spot. Here's Lanzat will take over. Skoko the substitute. Trying to find in Kilban. Now Baines.
Well, since this man put Wigan into the lead, nothing seems to have gone right for them. Valencia was sent off, and since then they've had to change the heart of the defence. Not one, but two occasions. Unsworth, I assume, has gone off through injury, and since then Fitzhall, who was deputising, he's also gone off.
Sean has gone back into the back four at the moment. Leighton Baines, we can confirm, did go into the book there. Here's Petrov.
This is where Villa have got to try and change the play, because Bardsley's on all the time on this right-hand side. The change of play and the width is going to be the most important factor in this second half for Aston Villa. If they use the width, there's no reason why they can't go on and win this game.
Barry, and now Berger. The difference he's made in the last couple of games. Jackson with the intervention. Ball did go out, despite Taylor's efforts. Berger's delivery, it was Gardner who was arriving. There's Josip Skoko, who started on Saturday, but on as a substitute today for that man, Fitzhall, departs. Here is Skoko. Larson. Now Barry. You would expect Villa to go on from here against the 10 men. Petrov trying to feed Maloney there. Wigan were perhaps looking for a flag. It didn't matter anyway. Heskey getting a little frustrated at the moment down there. Maloney, and now Barry. Oh, and offside flag does go up against Craig Gardner this time. Dave Bryan making the decisions. Heskey. Now Kilban. Skoko. Robbed probably by the presence really of Gardner there. Young playing it through. Lahore has to battle. But he's not going to get it his way this time.
Well, with the pace that Villa have got in their forward line with Maloney and especially this man Lahore, Wigan are really holding a high line. They were defending only 3 or 4 yards from the halfway line there.
Lahore in the tangle with Paul Sharner there. Barry, now Maloney, and Gardner. And Agbon Lahore is the man he's searching for but couldn't find.
They're just trying to force the issue a little bit too much for the middle, Aston Villa. I said it once, but I'll say it again. If they get into the wide areas, that's where they'll get most joy.
Jackson. Well, it was a 0-0 draw up at the JJB back in November. Violent, evasive action. He's also cleaned out Paul Sharner there. Here's Petrov. Bardsley trying to nick it through. But he handled it on the ground there. Philip Bardsley.
Well, the challenge looks worse than what it actually was. He certainly catches Jackson, but it was a result of a slip. I don't think it was intentional from Bardsley. As he went to close the ball down, he slipped and actually fell into the Wigan captain.
Well, just over an hour gone at Villa Park, and I'm sure Wigan now would certainly settle for the status quo. Baines hoping to achieve more than that with his whip delivery. Present from Petrov. Lanzat. Heskey. Skoko almost managed to work it to the McCulloch. Berger then couldn't find his man. Jackson there. Aston Villa have found winning games on their own patch difficult. 2 out of the last 10. If they can find a winning goal here, they're surely over the safety line, but Wigan really need a good spurt as we go towards the end of the season. There's the one who's hoping to bankroll the revolution here at Aston Villa. Andy Lerner. It certainly will be an interesting pre-season for Villa fans, I'm sure of that. Young getting in behind, but he'll be penalised. Challenge on Baines.
I'm not sure there's any intent there. I've looked at that very, very closely. And Ashley Young seemed to get his feet tangled with Baines. I don't think there's any intent to foul Baines. It was a good run from Ashley Young. Initially he came short, then looked to go on the inside of the fullback. He was well picked out from Bardsley.
Actually bounced awkwardly for Petrov. Kilban. Understandably, it's a difficult time for Wigan at the moment, but Villa, chances aren't coming thick and fast at the moment. Here's Bardsley. Now Gardner. McCulloch made that, importantly so. Barry. Petrov. Bardsley again with a lot of room, Young outside him. Can he get the better of Baines here? He has support. Does well himself. Quite break for Agbonlahor.
Excellent wide play that from Ashley Young. Waited and waited until he got himself a yard and whipped the cross in around Baines to that near post. Agbonlahor, not an easy chance, but it was a chance on the volley, but he wasn't able to take it.
Well, here's Agbonlahor again. A roll away from Shana, who stuck to his task. Maloney's corner. Heskey at the back doing an important job, and there may be plenty of that. Bardsley. Barry. Now Maloney. Here's Petrov. Maloney has a pop. The earlier Agbonlahor opportunity.
Well, he's already got one goal and he's very close to getting his second here. It's excellent wing play from Ashley Young. Whips the ball into the near post. He gets there, doesn't he, Agbonlahor, in front of the defender, but misses his kick just at the vital moment.
You sense the game is there for Aston Villa. But Wigan came up with something to take the wind out of Villa's sails in the first half. Altogether a more unlikely prospect with just the 10 men. Paul Jewell muttering odes to himself there, and Martin O'Neill with some instructions. Well, Paul Jewell will probably be satisfied if they can see this out. I would think it would certainly stretch the gap out a little. But it's easier said than done at the moment. Here's Berger. Gareth Barry. Gardner lifting it in, but Jackson was there. Unproductive Villa raid, really. Shana's clearance. Heskey. Berger. just a fraction away from Agbon Lahore. He certainly possesses all the qualities to unlock the door, but it's all through the middle at the moment, Trevor.
Yeah, he's the creative force. You feel that when he's on the ball, something can happen. I just feel they've got to string one or two more passes together. They're trying to play that killer pass through the centre, looking for Agbon Lahore. A little bit more variation is needed in their play.
And some defensive work for Villa to do for the moment. Well, if they can nick one, it would be absolute gold dust, and they did nick one. They certainly nicked one in the first half. Totally against the run of play. Free kick here, Baines sinned against. And a word for Gardner from the referee, Mark Halsey.
It appears that it's going to be no more than a word from Mark Halsey to Craig Gardner. Certainly Gardner there was guilty of kicking through the underside of the leg of Baines, caught him in the calf muscle area.
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to be a joyous journey back to Lancashire for the travelling Wigan support. But they'll settle for this at the moment in the situation, I'm sure. Skoko. In the end dealt with by Bardsley. Baines putting some pressure on. Pressure won't be rewarded because it came off Baines for the throw.
I think before long Martin O'Neill will be considering another change. Luke Moore, I think, would be the obvious candidate as a forward to come on. They certainly need a goal.
Absolutely. They've not scored more than 2 in a Premier League match this season, but 2 is what they need. Petrov. Now Bardsley will swing it in. Maloney coming in. Berger off! And Skoko at some pain has saved Wigan.
That's the kind of defending you want from any of your players. Paul Jewell will appreciate this. Berger winding up to hit it with the left foot. What a great interception that is from Skoko. The follow through, I think, from Berger actually catches Skoko.
Well, Skoko in some pain, but if they can maintain parity, in part thanks to that block, then it'll feel a little better come the end. And there is Luke Moore. He's recovered from a bad shoulder problem. He needed to go to America for surgery. And Sean Maloney is the man who's going to go off. First start at home, and off he comes, and a terrific reception for Luke Moore. Had his injury problems this season, but one of their own here, product of that side that won the 2002 FA Youth Cup. And indeed to Wayne Rooney-inspired Everton. Certainly throw the dice from Martin O'Neill to try and get it to tumble his way and try and find that winner, which would surely seal their place in the Premiership next season. Barry, straight into the path of Taylor. Berger. Jackson will win it, but Gardner will be first to pick up the pieces. Young. Kilban in the way. Couldn't find Bardsley there, Ashley Young, and the attack breaks down again. Emotions down in the dugout. Barry. Oh, and Luke Moore might get his first opportunity here. Forced out wide, but he'll find Berger. It's a good burst from him. Oh, and it's Lansard who got the touch. Important punch from Phelan, who's on the ground. Petrov. Now Barry. Well, that was out off the arm of Taylor. It will be a corner.
It was a clear handball, wasn't it?
There's one in there by Kilban. Does get up well in the air, but it was important that he did there. Gareth Barry was closing in on that with some intent. Here's Petrov, who'll float it in. Mellberg is up there, and Mellberg almost gives Villa the lead. It was Leighton Baines who got there.
Well, Phelan hasn't done too much wrong this afternoon, but he's guilty here of a poor punch. He should really clean out Mellberg. Doesn't get any contact on it. Unfortunately for him, Baines was covering him.
Barry whips it in, and Mellberg again! Did it creep in? Well, it looks like Wigan have escaped.
What a ball in this is, whipped in with pace. Mellberg gets on the end of it. Phelan makes the save, trickles onto the post. Now, is it over the line? The answer is no. Phelan makes a double save. Well done, John Phelan. Good response after his error some 30 seconds ago. Keeps Wigan in the game.
Villa pressure really mounting now. What a melee that was. Young. Now Petrov. They don't want to let Wigan off the hook here. Wigan play it down. Baines, I think.
They can't complain. The referee's got to stop the game. It's a head injury. The intended cross and Berger hit him flush in the face, knocked him to the ground.
But whatever, it does take the heat out of the situation a little for Wigan, because they found themselves under siege. You might be seeing stars for a moment, Leighton Baines. Well, certainly living on their nerves, the Wigan support. But two scooped out off the line in the last few moments. Leighton Baines preventing Mellberg at the first time of asking, then the double save from John Phelan. And a drop ball is how we're going to restart things here.
Well, it shouldn't be, should it? Because Aston Villa had good possession of the ball. Surely Wigan have got to give the ball back to Aston Villa. It shouldn't be a drop ball.
Well, Mark Halsey has decided that will be the case, and Wigan certainly not going to duck out of the contest. As it is, it comes to nothing. Otherwise, we would have had a bit of a note of controversy there. But here's Berger. Petrov. Bardsley. Can he get it right? Oh, he'll get a second chance. Petrov. Lovely ball to find Young. I was just going to say, will there be the end product? The answer, unfortunately, for Villa was no. Frustration building a touch.
Well, Wigan felt that the intended cross from Ashley Young actually went out of play, came back into play, and should have been given a goal kick. But in fact, it's a throw-in been given, which I think is the wrong decision.
Well, backed into a little bit of a corner. Ryan Taylor's throw. Here's Larson. Bardsley. Petrov sizing up the shot. Instead he'll use Young. More Gardner and Agbonlahor in the middle. It was Taylor who got there though. Berger. And the flag has gone up. Gardner missed it anyway.
But how late was the flag? It appeared that Gardner was being given onside because I looked at the lines but he didn't flag. And as this ball is played in, Gardner is onside. Agbonlahor was offside.
Well, Dave Bryant with controversy again, and now the time wasting is going to be punished by Mark Halsey, a booking for John Filan. He's certainly getting some stick, the Wigan goalkeeper. But he's made what could still prove to be a few crucial saves today. Here's Barry. And Petrov. 9 minutes to go here. More hassled off it. Gardner fouled by Osip Skoko. Whatever he wants to say about it. And the Holt end certainly trying to suck the ball into the net. Petrov and Berger over this. Berger floats it in. Well, down went Larson in the middle. Skoko has stolen it. Taylor. McCulloch underneath it. Will it stay in for him? Different opinion breaking out between there's a few heated words exchanged between them. Looks like Caleb Folan down there for Folan has already been booked for time wasting. Kicking the ball away, Holt end paying for blood. Well, I'd imagine it will only be a final word. Much to the Holt end's disappointment. Young's corner, Filan has come, and we'll get it to safety. The clock is ticking down. Pollock directing it away from Young. We'll wait for the substitution. Samuel Heskey, who replaced by Caleb Folan. So it's like for like, and as expected. Caleb Folan, who's made his way into the Irish squad, gets 6 minutes of this game, whereas action is most likely to be defensive. Larson. Here's Barry. Larson will let go. Away by McCulloch. Oh, Moore got an important touch on that. The flag had gone up anyway against Young. Oh, great delight. And most of Villa Park takes in John Filan's drop kick finding touch. 5 minutes left here. Here's Barry. It's a teasing delivery. Jackson was there. Off Sharner as well. Taylor away. And Villa still able to put on the pressure. It's Berger. And float it in. And Filan doing well again. Sorensen able to get it to Bardsley in the end. Moore, as he timed his run right. And the ball just escaping it.
Once again, brave keeping this from Filan. Comes over the top of his defenders. Bravely punches the ball away from the head of Agbon Lahore. Fearless keeping from the Wigan #1.
And Barry. Now Agbon Lahore, he couldn't get the better of Sharner. Now this could be interesting. A yellow card for Paul Sharner.
It's the first time for a little while that Agbon Lahore has released himself to get into a one-on-one position where he can use the grass in behind to use that outstanding pace. And Sharner, experienced as he is, knew exactly what he was doing, checked down Agbon Lahore, knew full well that in a race he was always going to be second best.
Well, only Bardsley has stayed back, as well as Sorensen. Young and Berger over it. We've seen some scruffy goals today. It's Young who whips it in. Goalkeeper confidence.
Daniel, on Saturday I saw a quite outstanding display of goalkeeping with yourself at the Emirates. Robert Green, best performance I've seen all season. I have to say, John Filan today has not been too far behind. He's been quite outstanding for Wigan.
Well, a couple of important saves in the first half and a couple more in the second as well. And the odd important punch as well, thrown in. And certainly he'll be getting pats on the back if they can hold on. Although he's not exactly endeared himself to the Villa support today. Well, into the final 2 minutes. Berger with the early delivery. James getting it out of immediate danger, but Young will put it back in there. Oh, Gardner was up in there. And off a Wigan body in behind.
Good defensive header there from Skoko. Saw the danger there from Gardner.
Gardner looking to get up again. Came off McCulloch. Now Berger. Berger's strike. Not a test for Phelan in the end. Well, against the odds in many respects. 1-1 draw at Villa Park with 10 men for almost an hour. Doesn't sound too bad.
Listen, if he goes on with a point, poor Joe, it'll feel like he's won the game. It'll feel like 3 points. To be fair to his team, they've battled heroically in this second half.
Well, it would increase the gap to 3 points with Sheffield United, of course, not in action today. Still has the potential to be interesting last day of the season. Bramall Lane, Sheffield United, Wigan. And Wigan fans in good voice now. But, not home and dry just yet. 4 minutes of added time. And that is plenty of time for this game still to turn. Young. Hallock away. Barry just hanging back to pick up the pieces. Barry will go for it.
Well, I've seen him do that before here at Villa Park. Come inside onto his right foot. He scored a spectacular goal at the other end earlier in the season. On this occasion, inches wide of that far post with John Phelan, but a good effort from Gareth Barry.
Well, he was dreaming of Tottenham again, wasn't he?
I couldn't think who the team was, Daniel. I was actually at the game too.
Well, Martin O'Neill would have been jumping for joy if there was a repeat. But Wigan holding firm.
I should have remembered it was Tottenham because it was the team that Gareth supported as a boy.
He certainly enjoyed it. Here's Barry again. Gardner got a piece on it. Young. Into the safe hands of John Phelan. Very close now to what could prove a very precious point indeed on the road. Half of the added time is up. Scrap on there, Taylor away. It's a foul on Phelan by Larson. Wigan support almost greeting that as they did the goal.
I think someone should tell them that Mark Halsey hasn't awarded a penalty in favour of them.
It's almost the biggest cheer of the afternoon. Well, it certainly is respite. They've come under a lot of pressure. And no surprise, it's going straight to the corner. Here's Phelan. Here's Barry again. Under a minute of the 4 minutes left. Mark Halsey already glancing at the watch. I make it 30 seconds.
That little bit of action, I think, is the conclusion of affairs for this afternoon, because once John Filan strikes this ball as far as he possibly can into a forward area, I'm sure Mark Harsey will blow his whistle to end this game.
It's a precious point for Wigan Athletic. Down to 10 men for almost an hour. Managed to scramble an equaliser for Aston Villa after Emile Heskey had given the Wigan the lead in the first half, but Martin O'Neill's team couldn't find their way through to claim a win that would surely assure them of safety. Olof Mellberg came close with 2 efforts, scrambled off the line by defender and goalkeeper respectively. But it's Paul Jewell who will definitely be the more satisfied manager. That point could make all the difference.
هذه المباراة قدمت لكم برعاية